Stop for just a moment, my child, before you set the phone back down. Before you tell yourself one more time that they are simply busy, that the call will come tomorrow, that it does not really hurt the way you know it does. Stop. Come and sit with me here, in this quiet, just for a little while. There is no one in this room you have to make excuses for, and no one you have to pretend in front of. It is only you and me now, and I have something I have been longing to say to you. You did not come to these words by accident. I know it feels like you are only passing the time, filling the silence of a house that has grown too quiet. But I drew you here. Something in you, tender and bruised, has been aching for a voice that would finally turn toward you, that would not be too busy, too distracted, too caught up in its own life to truly see you. So stay. Do not get up just yet. Let me be the one who has time for you tonight. All the time in the world. I know the ache you carry, my child. I have watched it settle over you, quietly, for a long time now. I have seen you look at the phone, the way you check it, more often than you would ever admit, hoping this will be the day it lights up with their name. .com. I have heard the small story you tell yourself each time it does not. They are busy. They have their own lives now. They will call when things settle down. And I have watched the slow, sad way you have begun to stop expecting it at all, lowering your hope a little more each week, so that the silence will not sting quite so sharply. I have seen you reach the place where you no longer wait by the phone, not because you stopped wanting the call, but because wanting it and not receiving it hurt too many times. I have seen the gatherings, too. The way you feel at the table you once filled with so much love, like an obligation now rather than a joy. The visits that have grown shorter year by year, the hurried hello, the eyes that drift to the door, the sense that you have become an item on a list, a duty to be discharged, rather than someone they ache to be near. And on the hardest occasions, the ones where you were not included at all, where you heard about the gathering afterward and understood that no one had thought to make a place for you. I was with you in the quiet of that realization. I saw you absorb it and tell no one, and carry it alone. And I know the cruelest part of it, the asymmetry that breaks your heart in the dark. You remember everything about them, every birthday, every worry they ever confided, the shape of their face when they were small and ran to you for everything. You would still drop the whole of your life in an instant if they needed you. You poured years, decades, your very self into them, gave until there was almost nothing left to give. And now, in the autumn of your life, you find yourself a footnote in the lives of the very ones to whom you were once the whole world. You are not asking for repayment. You never kept a ledger. You only ache to matter to them the way they have always mattered to you. And the silence where that mattering should be is a particular kind of grief that few people ever speak aloud. And I have watched how slowly it happened, which is part of what makes it so hard to name. There was no single moment when they turned away. It came in inches, over years. There was a time they ran to you for everything, when your arms were the safest place in their world, when no day was complete until they had told you all of it. And then they grew, as they were meant to, and the calls came a little less often, and the visits stretched a little farther apart. And the conversations grew a little shorter, until one day you looked up and realized how far the distance had quietly grown while you were still loving them exactly as much as you always had. You never moved. The whole distance opened up on their side, and you have been standing in the same place with the same open arms the whole time. And for some of you, there is the added ache of the little ones, the grandchildren you long to know and are kept somehow at the edges of, whose growing up you watch from a distance in glimpses and photographs, when your heart is bursting to be near them. To love a child you are rarely allowed to hold is its own quiet sorrow, and I have seen that one in you too, and I have not looked away from it. And I have seen the smaller woundings as well, the ones too slight to name to anyone without feeling foolish, but that gather, over time, into something heavy. The story you began to tell that no one had the patience to hear to the end, the opinion offered and gently waved away, the sense, even in a room full of your own family, that you are tolerated more than wanted, present more than truly included, there in body, but somehow already forgotten. None of it is too small for me, my child. I have gathered up every one of those little cuts, because I know that it is rarely one great rejection that convinces a heart it does not matter. It is 1,000 small dismissals, each one easy to excuse on its own, that slowly wear the conviction into a soul. I have counted every one of them, and I am here tonight to tell your heart the very opposite of what they have been teaching it. And I have seen the shame you wrap around the longing. You do not want to be needy. You do not want to be the parent who guilts their children, who complains, who clings, who makes them feel they owe you. You have seen how that pushes people away. And so you have chosen instead to swallow it, to say you are fine, to insist you do not mind, to let them believe their neglect costs you nothing. You protect them, even now, from the weight of how much it hurts. You would rather carry the pain in silence than become a burden to the ones you love. That is a quiet, costly kind of love, my child, and almost no one sees it. But I see it. I see every bit of it. And I have heard the question that comes at night, when the house is dark and there is no one to perform for. What did I do wrong? Was I not a good enough parent? Did I fail them somewhere, somehow, in a way I cannot even name? Am I simply unlovable? The kind of person even their own family sets aside? Everyone else's family seems so close, so warm, so present. Why not mine? What is wrong with me that the people I gave everything to have so little room for me now? And I know the shape of the days themselves, the quiet that has crept into the hours, the meals eaten alone at a table built for a family, the small piece of news, good or hard, that you used to share the moment it happened, and now you hold it, because there is no one on the other end of the line who is waiting to hear it. The evenings that stretch long and silent, and underneath it, on the harder nights, a fear you can barely let yourself look at. Who will be there at the end? Who will sit with me when I am old and frail? Will I face the last of my life as alone as I am facing these evenings? I see that fear, my child. I am not going to pretend it away with easy words, but I am going to sit with you in it, and I am going to tell you the truth that is stronger than it. Hear me, my child, before I say one more thing. That question is built on a lie, and I will not let it stand tonight. You are not unlovable. The way you are being treated is not the measure of your worth, and it is not the verdict on whether you are loved. There can be 100 reasons a child grows distant, most of them tangled up in their own busyness and brokenness, and the careless way the young so often take for granted the love that raised them. Their distance is a story about where they are, not a sentence passed on who you are. And whatever they have forgotten, whatever they have failed to see, I want you to know this with everything in you. You have not been forgotten by me. You are not invisible where I am. I have not grown too busy for you, and I never will. Let me tell you the truth about being forgotten, my child. Because the enemy of your soul has been whispering it over you like a curse, and I want to break its power tonight. He whispers that you have been left behind, that the ones who should love you best have moved on without you, and that this proves you are easy to forget, a person who fades from the minds of others the moment you are out of sight. He wants you to believe that forgetting is what you deserve. And I tell you that even if every human being who should remember you were to forget you completely, you would still be held, fully and forever, in a love that cannot forget. I said it long ago, through my prophet Isaiah, to a people who were certain I had forgotten them. And I want you to hear it now, as though I am speaking it straight into your own aching heart, because I am. Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet will I not forget thee. Do you hear what I am telling you? I took the strongest, most unbreakable love that human beings know, the love of a mother for the infant at her breast. And I said, even that love can fail. Even a mother might somehow forget. But I, your God, will not. My love does not run on the frailty of human memory or the limits of human attention. I do not forget the ones who are mine. And then I told them how I keep them in mind. With words so tender, I want you to hold them close tonight. Behold, I have graven thee upon the palms of my hands. Graven on the palms of my hands, my child. Not a note I might misplace, not a name I might let slip in the crowd of all my children. Carved into my very hands, where I cannot look at my own hands without seeing you. Where the memory of you is etched so deep that forgetting you would mean forgetting myself. The ones you love may go days, weeks, without a thought of you. You are not out of my mind for a single second. You are engraved where I will see you forever. Think of what it means to carve something into your own hands. It is not a place you can avoid looking. Your hands are before you in everything you do. You cannot work or reach or hold or create without your own hands in front of your eyes. That is where I have put you, my child. Not in some distant record I might consult on occasion, but in the one place I cannot help but see, continually, in everything I do. The walls of your life, my word says, are continually before me. I am not glancing at you now and then between more important things. There is nothing more important than you to me. You are always, always in my sight. The way a beloved name tattooed on a hand is seen by its bearer 1,000 times a day without even trying. That is how often you cross my mind. That is how impossible it is for me to forget you. If these words are reaching the tender place in you tonight, my child, do not let them slip away into the silence of the house. Stay with me a little longer, and if it would comfort you to hear my voice like this again on the next quiet evening when the loneliness presses in, you can follow along so that you always have a place to come where someone is glad you came. I am not asking you for anything. I am only offering you what you have been aching for, a presence that has time for you, that delights in you, that will never be too busy. Keep it close. Now let me come to the deepest fear underneath all of it. The fear that says, if my own family can set me aside, then perhaps I truly do not belong to anyone. Perhaps I am, in the end, alone in this world. To that fear, my child, I want to give you a promise I made long ago, and a place to put your whole weight. I said in my word, when my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. Hear the shape of that promise. It does not pretend that the forsaking will never happen. It looks the abandonment full in the face, the deepest abandonment there is, being let go by the very ones who gave you life. And it answers that abandonment not with denial, but with me. When they forsake you, I will take you up. I am the one who gathers what others set down. I am the one who picks up the child left in the street, who takes in the forgotten, who makes a home for the one no one made room for. The moment the people who should have held you let go, my arms were already underneath you. You did not fall into emptiness. You fell into me. And notice the tenderness in those old words. Take me up. It is the language of lifting a small child off the ground, of gathering someone into your arms who cannot stand on their own, of stooping down to raise up the one who has been left lying low. That is what I do with the forsaken. I do not merely keep my distance and pity them from far off. I bend down. I gather them up. I lift them against my own chest the way you once lifted your own little ones when they cried. All those years, you were the one who stooped to lift everyone else, who gathered the crying child, who carried the ones too weak to walk, and there was no one to do the same for you. Hear me, my child. I am the one who lifts the one who spent her whole life lifting others. Let yourself, at last, be gathered up. And if you think no one ever truly understands what it is to be overlooked by your own family, let me tell you about a young man who was, the one I chose to be the greatest king his people ever knew. Think of David. When I sent my prophet Samuel to the house of his father Jesse to anoint the next king from among his sons, Jesse gathered his boys and presented them, one by one. The tall ones, the strong ones, the ones who looked the part. 7 sons passed before the prophet. But Jesse did not even bother to call in his youngest. David was left out in the field with the sheep, so far down in his own father's mind that when the most important moment in the family's history arrived, no one thought to send for him. He was the forgotten son, the afterthought, the one his own family overlooked when it counted most. But I had not overlooked him. I told Samuel plainly, The Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. The very son his family passed over, the one left in the field as though he did not matter, was the one I had already chosen, because I had been watching his heart all along, while everyone else was looking past him. And Samuel would not even sit down to eat until they sent for that forgotten boy and brought him in from the field. Sit with that picture for a moment, my child. While the celebration was being prepared, while his brothers stood polished and proud before the prophet, David was out alone with the animals, doing the humble, unseen work, with no idea that the most important gathering of his family's life was happening without him. No one called him. No one thought he was worth including. And yet, he was the only one who mattered in that whole assembly. The only one I had chosen. The one the entire story would turn upon. The forgotten one in the field was the king all along. So do not measure your importance by whether they remember to send for you. The ones the family overlooks are very often the very ones I have my eye on most closely. Heaven's reckoning of your worth and your family's attention to you are two completely different things, and only one of them tells the truth about who you are. Hear what I am saying to you, my child. Your family may have looked past you. They may have, in their busyness or their carelessness, treated you as the one who does not need to be sent for, the afterthought, the one left out in the field of their attention. But I do not see the way they see. While they were looking past you, I was looking straight at you, at your heart, at the love and the faithfulness and the worth that they were too distracted to notice. The world's overlooking is not my overlooking. The very thing they fail to see in you, I have seen and treasured all along. And as I did with David, I am able to call in from the field the one everyone else forgot. And there was Joseph, too, sold into slavery by his own brothers, the very family that should have protected him, betrayed and discarded by his own blood. Yet I was with Joseph in the far country, and I lifted him. And in the end, I wove even that cruel rejection into a story of rescue for thousands. What his family meant for harm, I bent toward good. I have never been limited by what your family failed to give you. I have a long history of taking the ones their own people cast aside and writing their truest story myself. And here is the most beautiful part of Joseph's story, the part I want you to hold. When at last he stood face to face with the very brothers who had thrown him away, he did not crush them, though he easily could have. He wept, and he forgave them. And he told them that what they had meant for evil, I had meant for good. The rejection by his own family did not get the final word over his life, and it did not turn him bitter or small. I carried him through it and out the other side, into a largeness of heart and a place of blessing that the betrayal could never have produced on its own. The very same hands that carried Joseph through his family's rejection are underneath you tonight, and they are just as strong, and just as faithful, and just as able to write good out of what was meant for harm. So here is the wisdom I want to put into your hands tonight, my child. Because I do not only want to comfort you, I want to give you something to live by when you set this down and return to the quiet house. First, you must stop letting their treatment of you set the price of your worth. You have been reading their neglect as a verdict, letting the silence of the phone tell you what you are worth, and the number it whispers is a lie. I formed you myself. You are, in my own words, fearfully and wonderfully made, knit together by my own hand before you ever drew a breath. Your value was set by your Maker, not by your children, and not by anyone's attention or inattention. It does not rise when they call, and fall when they do not. It is fixed, deep, and unchangeable, because I fixed it, and no amount of being forgotten by people can lower a worth that I myself assigned. Root your sense of who you are there, in the one who cannot stop treasuring you, and not in the ones who have, for now, forgotten how. Second, do not let the hurt harden into a wall that deepens the very loneliness you grieve. I have watched you begin to withdraw, to pull back, to protect yourself by expecting nothing and keeping your distance. And I understand exactly why. But hear me gently. Bitterness, left to grow, becomes a prison that locks you in alone. The resentment you are tempted to nurse will not punish them. It will only wall you off and make the isolation complete. Bring the hurt to me instead. Pour it out here, where it is safe, where it will not poison you. Let me carry the anger and the grief, so that it does not calcify into something that hardens your own heart. Third, forgive them, not because what they did was small, but because forgiveness is how you set down a weight that is crushing only you. To forgive is not to pretend the neglect did not hurt, or to say it was acceptable. It is to release them from the debt of the love they owe you, and in doing so, to free your own heart from the chain of keeping that debt. You can forgive them and still grieve the distance. You can love them and pray for them, and leave the door of your heart open to them, while you place the whole tangled ache of it into my hands, and let me be the one who heals it. And keep loving them, my child, with open hands. Do not let their forgetting turn you bitter toward them. Pray for them. Bless them, even from a distance. Their neglect, more often than not, is thoughtlessness and not cruelty. The careless way the young take for granted the love that has always been there. Leave the light on for them. Keep your heart soft, and entrust the relationship and its mending to me, who loves them even more than you do. And let me give you a family for the days that are lonely now, my child. It has always been my way to set the lonely in families, to gather the ones who have no one and weave them into a belonging they were not born into. The bonds of blood are not the only bonds I make. All around you there are others who know this same ache. In the pews of a church, in the quiet corners of a neighborhood, in the lives of people you have not yet let close. I made my people to be a family to one another, where the forgotten are remembered and the overlooked are seen. Do not close yourself off in the waiting for the ones who are distant. Let new bonds form. Let yourself be known by people who have room for you now. The family you were given may have grown thin, but the family I am offering you is wide, and it has a place in it shaped exactly like you. And take the great storehouse of love that is in you, the love you have been longing to pour out and finding no one to receive it. and let it find new soil. You have a lifetime of tenderness in you, a gift for caring that your own family may be too busy to receive right now. Do not let it go to waste, dammed up and aching inside you. There are others starving for exactly the kind of love you have to give. A lonely neighbor, a struggling young one with no grandparent of their own, a hurting soul who would be undone by the warmth you have been saving for people who are not, at the moment, reaching for it. Love that is poured out is never wasted, even when it cannot go where you first intended. Let your love flow toward where it is received, and you will find, to your surprise, that the ache of being unneeded begins to ease as you let yourself be needed again. There is one more thing I would have you hear, the deepest comfort of all, and I have saved it for last. You are afraid that, in the end, you belong to no one. So let me tell you whose you are. When you came to me, you did not receive a spirit that makes you a servant or a stranger, kept at arm's length, tolerated, an afterthought in my house. You received the spirit of adoption, by which you cry out, Abba, Father. Do you understand what that means? I have adopted you. I have made you my own child, written your name into my family with my own hand, given you the full standing of a beloved son, a beloved daughter, an heir. You are not a guest in my house, hoping to be remembered. You are family, with a father who runs to meet you, who is never too busy, who never lets the call go unanswered, who has set a place for you at his table that no one can ever take away. The family you were born into may have grown distant, but you have been adopted into a family where you will never, ever be set aside, by a father whose love for you is not a duty but a delight. And let me show you what kind of father I am, so you will know exactly what you have come home to. I once told a story about a father whose child had wandered far away, and when that child finally turned back toward home, the father did not stand in the doorway with his arms crossed, waiting for an apology, keeping score of all the lost years. While the child was still a long way off, the father saw him and was moved and ran. He ran to meet his child and threw his arms around him and called for a celebration. That is the father you have, not one who has to be coaxed or earned or reminded that you exist. One who is watching the road for you, who runs to gather you in, who is overjoyed simply that you have turned your face toward home. You have spent so long loving people who were slow to turn toward you. Tonight, turn toward me and watch how quickly I come. And an adopted child in my house is no lesser child, no charity case kept quietly at the margins. My word says that if you are my child, then you are my heir, an heir of God, sharing in everything that belongs to my own Son. Everything that is mine, I have made yours. You, who have felt like an afterthought in your family's plans, are written into the very center of mine, with an inheritance no one can revoke, and a belonging that does not depend on anyone remembering to include you. You are not standing at the edge of my house, hoping to be noticed. You are seated at the heart of it, a beloved heir, home for good. If these words have found the lonely place in you tonight, my child, do not carry it in silence the way you carry everything else. When this is done, leave one honest word below and tell me, and tell the others walking this same quiet road, that you are here, not to shame anyone and not to complain, but so that all of us who know this ache can hold one another, and so that you can see, with your own eyes, that you are not the only one, and that you are not alone. I gather every one of those words. Not one of them goes unheard. And in the gathering of my lonely children, I have a long habit of making a family out of those the world forgot. So lift your head, my beloved. I know how quiet the house has become. I know how long you have waited by a phone that does not ring. How many times you have lowered your hope to keep from being hurt. And I am not asking you to stop loving them or to harden your heart. I am asking you to let your weary, aching heart rest for tonight in the only love that will never once forget you. You are not forgotten. I have graven you on the palms of my hands. You are not unlovable. I formed you fearfully and wonderfully, and I have not stopped treasuring you for a single day. You are not overlooked. While they looked past you, I was looking straight at your heart. And you do not belong to no one. You are my adopted child, and I am your father. And there is a place at my table with your name on it that nothing and no one can ever take away. Rest now. Put the phone down. Put the silence down. Put the long ache of being forgotten down, just for tonight. And let it be enough that you are seen and remembered and held and deeply, unshakably loved by the one whose memory of you is carved into his own hands. You do not have to fix the distance tonight. You do not have to understand why they have grown so far, or mend what is broken, or carry the loneliness one more inch by yourself. You only have to let yourself be loved for these few hours by the one who has been loving you all along, even in the years you felt most forgotten. Lay it all at my feet. I am near to the lonely, and I draw closest of all to the broken-hearted. And let tonight be the night you stop believing that to be forgotten by them is to be worth forgetting. Their distance has tried to teach you a lie about yourself, repeating it in the silence until you half believed it, that you are easy to set aside, that you fade from people's hearts, that you are not the kind of person who gets remembered. Hear the truth that is louder than that lie. You are remembered by the one whose memory never fails, treasured by the one who carved you into his own hands, chosen by the one who sees the heart that everyone else looked past. The verdict of a busy, distracted world is not the verdict of heaven, and heaven has already ruled, with finality and with love, that you are wanted, that you are precious, and that you are mine. The peace that the world cannot give, and the world cannot take, I give to you tonight. Rest gently, be held fully, and know, all the way down in the deepest part of you, that you are remembered by the one who matters most, and that I do not abandon the work of my own hands, and that the ones I have engraved on my palms are never, ever forgotten. When you wake tomorrow into the quiet of the house, remember what I told you tonight. You are graven on my hands. I cannot forget you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Your worth was never theirs to set. You are taken up by me when others set you down. And you are my own adopted child, with a father who is never too busy for you, and never will be. Lift your eyes, my beloved. The silence does not get the last word. I do. And the word I speak over you tonight is not forgotten, and not unwanted, and not alone. The word I speak over you is mine. You are mine. Rest in that, my child. I am with you. I am with you. I am with you.